What's going on, guys? As you can see in the background here, we're playing on some King of the Hill Lakeside because the topic of today's video is the Airborn Armament set and the kind of experience I had trying to learn to use it the other week because I kind of decided that I want to try giving it a go, and after that week I kind of found it really worked best on COP maps. Not exactly sure why, but it really did. So for those of you who don't know, the Airborn Armament set was a set, surprise, that they originally released few years ago, and the kind of weapons in it are all designed to work together. So I thought it could be interesting to, give them all a go, see what I think of them, see if I can improve at using it over the week. And what I found was actually really interesting, the kind of how hard I found it and how bad I thought the weapons were at the start of the week, as opposed to after a few days I actually started to really like using it. Not only because of how fun I found it, but also because it was actually pretty powerful. So for those of you who don't know, the set has the Liberty launcher that you can see in the background here that does a little bit less damage, but it also hurts you less when you go to rocket jump. So it's good for people like me who love that kind of mobility. And then the secondary weapon that it has is the reserve shooter that loves to crit airborne enemies, which I actually think is a really good weapon. I mean, just because of the fact it's not like the direct hit where they have to be airborne by explosives. If someone's just jumping, they get mini crit, and there are a lot of people who like to just run around jumping, especially me. I get killed by that thing way too often. And then the final melee weapon is, of course, the one and only Market Gardener, which you can imagine I'm a pretty big fan of. So originally when I started with this set, I really didn't like it. I mean, my normal TF2 loadout for Soldier is just the stock rocket launcher with the gunboats and whatever kind of melee I'm feeling like on the day. And because of that, I rely pretty much exclusively on shooting people with my rocket launcher to kill them. And the Liberty launcher, with negative 25% damage, only deals about 50 damage a shot to people at medium ranges and about 70 at close, which means it takes 3 rockets to kill a soldier, assuming he's not being killed. So it's kind of like trying to beat someone to death with a wet noodle. It just doesn't work. So after a little bit, I got thinking a little bit more. This is a set. It's not supposed to be just the Liberty launcher. You got to use everything together. And that's kind of when I finally started to realize what made this loadout so fun. And this is where I really started to have a great time using it, which is to rocket jump at people, taking advantage of that negative 20% less damage to self while rocket jumping. And then as I'm jumping towards them, you shoot a rocket at their feet, bounce them up in the air, change to the reserve shooter, and crit them. And this was, I can't even say, it blew my mind. It was, number one, so much fun, and number two, unbelievably powerful, because at point blank range, if you rocket jump right into someone and bounce them, the reserve shooter can do about 100 damage in each shot, which is a crazy amount of damage if you think about it. And on top of that, you're not dealing any explosive damage to yourself with it, so it's just an all-round unbelievable combo. And it actually really reminded me a lot of that feeling you get when you're playing Pyro. A lot of you probably know when you're running around with the degreaser and the flare gunner, and just that awesome feeling of setting someone on fire, switching to the flare gun, and then comboing them with that. It's amazing, and it feels really satisfying. It's number one, really powerful, but number two, it feels good. So if you guys are planning on jumping in and maybe giving this loadout a go, I don't really know anyone that uses the Liberty launcher as like their main rocket launcher. I mean, the negative 25% damage penalty is really big, and on top of that, I know that the faster projectile speed is supposed to make it easier to hit your target, but I'm so used to the speed that a normal rocket travels at that I actually found myself missing a lot more with the Liberty launcher, which, you can probably get used to it, but definitely at the start it was much harder to get used to. While I was actually playing with the Liberty launcher, I got thinking a little bit about the kind of tweaks you could make to it, and one I really liked the idea of was a Liberty launcher that either, you take away the projectile speed or you reduce the damage a bit more, but the benefit is that it does even more knockback, so that when you shoot a rocket at their feet, it bounces people super high in the air, which gives you a ton of time to shoot them with a reserve shooter. I don't know, I like the idea of weapons that kind of combine together for cool effects, and that seemed like something that could work to me. But hey, if they haven't patched the lock and load, there's no way they're going to change this weapon, especially not just off my idea. So this was the Airborne Armament set. It is really awesome. If you're like me and you've kind of ignored it up to this point, I'd really advise you to go in, try and get all the weapons together, put it into a set, jump in, have some fun with it. Don't make the mistake I did, which is to just rely on the Liberty launcher all the time. Make sure you're trying to combo everything together, have some fun, combine the shotgun with the Market Gardener, I mean, that doesn't exactly work. Combine the rocket launcher with the market gunner. That works a lot better. And just make sure you're using everything, because they are 3 really, really fun weapons. And if you use them properly, they're also 3 really, really powerful weapons. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you, legends, in the next one. Bye-bye.